Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to discuss about the principles of content writing. So when you write the content, when you write the display the content of the web page, then what are the principles that you have to keep in your mind? So always you have to avoid long block of text, and then you have to make it short. The paragraphs, even if you have a lot of content to read, then you try to use short paragraphs instead of big paragraphs. And then wherever it is appropriate, use bullet points, that is list elements. And also wherever it is appropriate, use headings and subheadings to make it more organized. So when you consider the font, what kind of font design that you have to select, always go for the commonly used fonts, because that will be dealt with all the display devices and browsers in a same way. So these are the basic fonts that could give the same display in different devices and browsers: Arial, Helvetica, Verdana, and Times New Roman. So these are the basic fonts. So always try to use the basic fonts. And then normal principle is serif font is more for printing. It will look good on printing, and sans serif font will look good on web display. What is serif and sans serif? So if you have this kind of small element here, the small tip, then it is serif, and if it doesn't have, then it is sans serif. So this is good for printing, and the sans serif is good for web display devices. So avoid serif kind of font in web design content display. And always go with the font size, that is using the percentage, the 200. So for example, saying that it should be 200% bigger than the current size, or it should be 2 times. EM means 2 times bigger than the current size. So we will discuss about these things detail when we speak about the CSS font sizes, but always go with the commonly used font sizes. Okay, and then always go with the appropriate weightage. So avoid bolding everyone, avoid making everything strong font. Okay, so that will be confusing. Wherever it is appropriate, then use the bolding. And also always use the appropriate line length, that is the width of the display. Okay, so wherever it is appropriate, try to use the columns instead of using the wider content. Try to bring in the columns. So for example, you can look at this content where if the paragraph is taking the whole viewport, then it will be kind of boring. It is hard to read and it will be boring. But when we have this kind of size, if this kind of width, then it will be easy to read. Okay, also you have to always consider the vertical scroll bar. This is vertical scroll bar. The vertical scroll bar is fine, but if you need to use the horizontal scroll bar to read the width of the content, then it will be really annoying. So always you have to be mindful that your website should not have the horizontal scroll bar. Okay, it should have only the vertical scroll bar. When you use the wider width of the element content, then it will go beyond this viewport. So then automatically the scroll bar will get will get added, and the user has to use the scroll bar to read the full content, which is really hard. Okay, so to avoid this kind of issue, always use column instead of wide area. And also try to bring in the contrast, which we have already seen in the design principle. Always try to bring the contrast between the background and text. Okay, and then always with the alignment, our brain get adapted to left aligned font more easy than the right aligned font. So always try to use justified or left aligned content. Okay, and then always spec the spelling, all those stuff. Okay, so you should be very conscious. Like normally in writing, what are the principles that we will follow? You have to follow all the principles in web design writing as well. Okay, so avoid the vague content like click here. Instead, use the appropriate word. what that particular link is. Instead of saying click here, you have to specify what is there here. Contact is there. So if you click onto this, you will get the contact information, right? So always be specific what that link is all about. Okay, so and yeah, so those are the design principles that we have to follow for web content writing. So the next principle that we are going to say is for colors. What are the principles that we have to use to select the colors? See you in the next video.